We live in the edge of Paladine, actually. I'm actually in Paladine. Not Failport. The goalie has been the goalie has been pulled from the ice.
Oh, that's cool. Did you go with the gal that you
No, she
Okay.
was a Chesapeake. So, yeah.
Where'd you go to? Just for college?
Tech.
Can you see that? Yeah. Yeah. Let me just get my glasses out. I'm not there quite yet. It's great.
I'd like to introduce Miss Grace Hopkins. She's going to speak to you all about women in STEM careers. And after this, we're actually going to have a short break, so you guys will be able to get up and move around.
Good morning again. I'm Samantha Grace Hopkins. And first, I'd like to thank you guys for being here so that I can share something that I'm passionate about with you. My project is the involvement of women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM. So some background why STEM is really important to me. I've always loved being creative, solving problems, and designing things. In middle school, I got a greater appreciation for science and mathematics, and in high school, I got a greater appreciation for engineering and technology. So my project has multiple aspects to it. Um, my research paper focuses on the underrepresentation of women in STEM, and my internship kind of lets me get a feel of engineering, which is what I want to do. Um, my community service, though, is really getting others inspired. And a quote that I thought tied it all together is by William Stanford Nye, or you might know him better as Bill Nye. There's nothing I believe in more strongly than getting young people interested in science and engineering for a better tomorrow for all of humankind. The only thing I would really add to that is getting women interested in STEM because they're very essential to the U.S. economy with their contributions closing the gender gap, and that the U.S. will need approximately 1 million more STEM graduates to meet demand in the next decade. So for my research, I focused on the underrepresentation of women in STEM. Women make up approximately 50% of the workforce, however, only occupy 25% of STEM careers. In a study conducted by Mochler and Kem, graduates of George Washington University, they found that being female was a major negative predictor for going into a STEM field. Some other aspects that they found why women were dissuaded from STEM careers were lack of academic and mathematical competence, gender stereotypes, and a decreasing interest in STEM in middle school. But some reasons why women do pursue STEM areas include academic competence, strong support system at home, and involved educators. So knowing these reasons why women pursue STEM or don't pursue STEM subjects helps us use some solutions to get them more involved. Peer mentoring circles and college programs, more involved educators, and career counselors, which are also considered a pipeline for female students in STEM. So for my internship, my mentor was Mr. Goodman. He owns Goodman Excavating. And he supervises, he goes from job site to job site and makes sure everything is running smoothly. He gets permits and things like that. His company, Goodman Excavating, has job sites in Louisa and Charlottesville. And they do a lot more than just like removing dirt and adding dirt. They actually do a lot of construction projects where they'll put up buildings, put in sidewalks, and install electrical and septic systems. And why I wanted to intern under him is really get a feel for engineering from a business perspective. And so what I have for you here is what I studied during my internship. These are site development plans. And what they are is after Goodman Excavating gets a request for a project, they'll get civil engineers to design kind of a layout of how it's all going to work together. And they'll send them to Goodman Excavating and they'll print them out at the office. So what I have for you here is the Ferncliff job site. So it kind of shows where it's going to have 2 warehouses with some office buildings. You have some loading areas and parking lots out back. You have some parking lots up front. And then you have 3 sediment ponds that will be during construction. And up here is what they called a takeoff from the plan, which kind of shows like where they would fill in dirt, which would be the blue areas, and where they would cut or remove dirt, which would be the red. Here are some pictures of the job site. Here's where they have some silt fences for environmental purposes, and then here they lay down gravel to start putting up the walls. So another job site that this was really the highlight of my internship because I actually got to see how they took these unintelligible lines and made it into like a building and an office. So here we have the day school, this building here, and a lot of sidewalks around it. It was actually a really small space to be working with. They had a lot of issues with space trying to get in bulldozers and machines to do work. You have a takeoff of that site where the red lines are pre-existing elevation lines and the blue lines are after the job site. Here's just a picture of the job site. When I went to visit it, it was much further along. They had the building up, and there were sidewalks and steps here. As you can see, they're just starting to put up the walls. So for my community service, I worked with Miss Hotel. She is the gifted instructional specialist at Trillions and Moss Knuckles Elementary School. And what I wanted to do with her is to really inspire elementary students to get excited about STEM, as I am. So I went and helped her with the 5th graders work on their websites, and I also created a resource website on my phone. So what I did is I went to Moss Knuckles, and I helped the 5th graders with their light project, where we were really showing them how to make a website. So, and they would use technology to create websites. They would do some research so they could put information on light on them. And so here's just a picture of them working on it. I thought it was really neat that they were learning how to create websites in 5th grade, because I did not really know how to do that until I started high school. Here's my resource site. It's really just a site for parents, students, and teachers, how to get women involved in STEM, why it's important. I have some opportunities and reference websites with projects. You can access it on my senior site, or I can share with you the link during a break. So here's a picture of them. They're supposed to be working on their websites, but when I came in that day, it turns out the internet was down. So I kind of panicked. I was like, how are they supposed to work on their websites, with the internet down? And so what I really learned from this project is a lot of problem solving and how to be flexible when things go wrong. And another thing really what's difficult is this kind of standing up here and presenting in front of people and communicating with people that I don't really know. As for continuing my passion in STEM, I really want to major in a bachelor's degree in some discipline of engineering that I haven't decided. And I will either be going to Tech or Grove City. I would again like to thank everyone for being here, especially my mentors, Mr. Goodman and Ms. Hotel. So now if there are any questions, I'd gladly answer. Yes.
Great job, Grace. Obviously a very pertinent subject for today. My question is, you mentioned on your website different projects for STEM. Can you explain a couple of those that you put as an example?
Well, really what I put is websites that lead to projects.
Oh, okay.
Some reference websites, and I broke it up into different sections. Like one section has projects for mainly science, and then projects for mainly technology. I know under technology, I also put like Google Sites is a good way. You can do like any project and present it with
When you started your presentation, you mentioned that there's going to be a need for over 1 million STEM graduates. What was the basis for that number?
Um,
Where did that number come from?
oh, it came from one of the studies I was looking at during my research. It says 1 million more graduates in the next decade. Of course, that probably came from 2012 data.
Okay. And did they specify where those women would be needed? What field?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I know in middle school, my science teacher, Miss Brown, absolutely loved and adored her, and she really got me hyped for science. Yes, Megan? Probably keeping them on task, because they like to just talk about other things. When they're like, no, you have to work on your project. Yeah.
What were the websites of the careers? Like, were they all different things? Did they all like make a website?
Oh, they made their own, like they got to groups of like 3 or 4, and they made their own individual websites on using Google Sites, and we really just showed them, and they would put up like pictures and information on like.
I have an observation. You said that you were nervous. I didn't see it. You hit it well.
You did a great job.
You hit it well.